Hey, everybody, it's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? We're so happy you're here. Tonight is September 30th, 2025. We have very special guests on tonight. Our friend Larry Fish, who is doing a show at the comic strip this weekend, and Yudenia Mesa Dominguez for season 2 of The Liberal Conservative. So, Leo, hit that promo, honey.
I'm a big fish in a small pond. Got my days free and the nights long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be.
Welcome back. We're glad you're here. So I am coming to you live from, usually I come in studio from New York City, but coming to you live from Cliffside Park, New Jersey, taking care of Judy's dogs while she is on a business trip. So, and they're very well behaved. They're upstairs. So it looks a little different, but we are coming to you live, and thank God for Leo. He can do anything from anywhere. Our first guest, our first listener in, Danielle Alexandria Alchemy. Happy last Tuesday of this September, Maria, Leo, and What's the Story crew. Yes, it is. And that means that we have one more time to show our nothing but the apron calendar boy, Bobby Belfry. There he is. Bobby Belfry. I think he got like 5 shows this year because he is Mr. September, and we try to show our calendar person every show. So there he is. Isn't he cute? He was so excited. Danielle is our friend, but she also happens to be a psychic, a spiritual medium, past life regressionist, spirit animal reader. She does everything. She talks to the other side, and I'm not just saying that. I've had readings, and a lot of my friends have, and Danielle is incredible. How do you find Danielle? Yeah, you go to DanielleAlexandriaAlchemy.com. And I personally recommend the quantum session, the middle one I had, and it just blew me away. But anything you're gonna love. Rena Cugnali Bergie, my cousin from Massachusetts, has just checked in. Hello and happy Tuesday from me and Tiana.
Hi, Tiana.
Hi, Tiana. I miss you so much. I was thinking about you today. I think about you every day, but today I was thinking about you. Lori Towers. Oh my God, she made it. She's so cute. I know they were at an event and they made it. Raced home to be at my happy place. Hello, friends. And John Pietro, her very handsome husband. John and Lori are our friends, and they are music historians, DJs, musicians, poets, journalists. They do everything. Leo, why don't you tell everybody about Wednesday nights? Since you
Wednesday
are a
night.
regular. Yeah.
Well, actually, I've been cabareting on these Wednesdays, so I come in a
know
little bit
you're
late
very
now,
busy.
usually. But Wednesdays 10 p.m. John Pietro, Lori Towers, WFMU. 2 of those letters I sent to Donald Trump, but you can figure out which ones. WFMU.org for my wonderful music night beneath the underground on Sheena's Jungle Room. Last week was eccentric behavior. So is this eccentric since it's the last Tuesday of the month? Are we being eccentric?
Well, I guess. I mean, we're always a little eccentric, I guess. Well, you're the eccentric one, I'm going to have to say. So Lori and John, and we're so happy you're here. And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but we have a very special guest that Lori is bringing to us. So I'm going to go live on location. I'm like jumping out of my skin. I might have to talk. I have to talk about it for a second. Louise Sorrell. Yes, the Louise Sorrell from.
She's coming back to visit.
I'm going to go to her location, and we're going to do a show live with Louise Sorrell because she's doing a show.
Are you taking marinara? Are you taking some meatballs? Because you
I'm
can't
going
be
to take her
empty-handed.
some food. Yeah, I'm going to bring her some food because she is doing a show at the United Solo Festival. She's doing her own show, and we're going to talk about that. And I am so ridiculously excited. So that show, I think it's going to be I believe the second week in November. The second Tuesday in November is our show here with Louise. And then Louise's show is the second Saturday in November at 2 p.m. I'm going to go see it. So I'm really excited about that. And we have so much going on. Now, I want to talk quickly about something that I was part of last night that just really moved me very much. So, as you know, I work at Stonewall one night a week, usually Mondays. I'm a bartender there, and we're part of shows and things like that.
Extraordinaire, extraordinaire,
Oh, well, thank
bartender
you.
extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you, Leo. So Melissa got a hold of us and said we have a very special private party happening. Sophia Coppola, who produced this film, is they're renting out. They were having a party at Stonewall to promote this film called Fairyland, and also Andrew Durham is the director. What an amazing man! And I got to be with them, and it was incredible. So I created a drink menu for their event, but I gotta say, the trailer, if you get a chance, we're not going to do it tonight because we have a lot going on tonight. We want to bring Larry on ASAP, but it's opening this Friday. It's called Fairyland. I'll give you a little synopsis. This couple has a little girl. This straight couple has a little girl, and the mother dies in a car accident. And the father, of course, gets custody of his daughter because, the only living parent. And they move to San Francisco. And so it takes place from the late 70s, the early 90s. And what transpires in this time, in this little girl's journey with her dad, who realizes that he's gay. And it's so beautiful. The trailer alone made me cry. The trailer made me cry. I was very, very, very moved by it. So it's based on a book. It's based on a true story. So if you are looking for something to do, yes, thank you. Please go and see Fairyland. Everyone in it is amazing. And just the trailer. Oh, just watch the trailer and you'll cry, I promise. And I really, 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 I was talking to one of the PR people. Maybe we can get some of them to zoom in one of these nights and promo the movie themselves. Cool. Yeah, but I just couldn't let it go because it was Sundance Film Festival review, Amelia Jones, Scoot McNairy. Oh my God, in touching memoir set against San Francisco AIDS epidemic. It's so beautiful. I got chills just even thinking about it. So please do yourself a favor and go and watch that movie. I'm
love
sure
that name.
I know.
Scoot McNairy. That's so
Scoot
cool.
McNairy. Isn't that a great name? And the little girl in it, forget about it. You won't know what to do with
Emilia Jones.
I can't remember her name, but she's spectacular.
Emilia Jones, is that who
Emilia
it was?
Jones, yeah. She plays the older version of the little girl, I think. So anyway, I didn't get a write-up. I just told them, I said, this is so amazing. I just want to talk about it quickly tomorrow night, but maybe we can get you on. They were so lovely, lovely people. Okay. Speaking of lovely, lovely people and my friend, and I've wanted to get him on before. He was in Palm Springs. Does stuff in Boca, Florida. He's from Boca, all kinds of stuff. He's in New York quite often, and I see him. He comes into Brandy's. He's just the best person, and he's doing a show at the Comic Strip Live. It's called New Talent Show, and he's going to tell us all about it. The Comic Strip is on 2nd Avenue between 81st and 82nd, right near Brandy's. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my friend, Larry Fish.
Oh, my God. Woo. That was the most wonderful, wonderful introduction.
How'd I do, Larry? Okay?
Yeah. It is so wonderful, my friend, Maria. Now, I'm sitting here getting ready, and I'm trying to figure out about Maria. Now, two things come immediately to mind, right?
What is it?
How do you solve a problem like Maria, right? But then it goes into, it's what about? So I go, what about Maria? So it's a what about him? So I'm going into two Broadway musicals. I'm into Sound of Music and Bye Bye Birdie, and I'm combining it together to get, what's the matter with him? And what's the problem about Maria, right? So is that basically where we're coming from?
I love it. I'll take it, Larry.
Oh, of course.
I'll take what you got. Now you're doing a show. I know you've been a comedian for a while now. I mean, that's your thing, comedy, right?
Comedy. Listen, in this time, in this day and age, if we can't laugh, we ain't got anything.
No, I agree with you, honey, and we need it so badly, and I'm so grateful for it.
We are the Salvation Army of the future, right? Forget old clothes and forget the donation. We need laughter.
Absolutely, honey, 100%.
Laughter, love, and music. So what you do at Brandy's and with your at Stonewall is like you bring up people. Like music elevates people, right? It does. It takes them to a higher plane. Comedy and laughter connects, right?
Absolutely.
Not be mad with a person if you've laughed together.
Yep, right? I agree. I agree. It's a total icebreaker, but it's also it bridges people.
That's totally it. And the comic strip, which is right in the neighborhood of Brandy's, is such a place. In the 70s, when like stand-up really hit big, right? When the first round of there were literally 3 comedy clubs in New York with any meeting. There was Catch a Rising Star.
Right.
There was the Improv. And then there was Comic Strip Live. And then a little later, Caroline's came away. So these were the 4 heavyweights of live stand-up comic in New York. The only one still standing is Comic Strip Live.
Wow.
Right? For all these years. And it was the breakout home of some little names like Eddie Murphy, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, Paul Reiser. You know, these are the guys who all started there doing new talent shows.
Oh, right? My God.
Have existed at the comic strip since it begins. And there's an amazing man named D.F. Sweetler who's literally run these things for 40 years. And what it is, it's like you will go there. You're not going to know a comedian's name that you see. And these guys might be really funny, but not polished. It's like when you go to see the Yankees, it's one thing. But then when you go to Brooklyn to see the Cyclones, it's something else.
Yes, I've been to see the Cyclones. I love it.
And which is more fun, right?
Yeah.
Right? When you see them make mistakes and you see them guffaw and you see them working on stuff and figuring out the career. And that's what this is. It's a 5:00 show on Saturday nights. It's every other Saturday at the comic strip. And it's wonderful because you will actually see a comedian. It's their first time on stage ever. And
really?
5 or 6 years from now, that might be someone you'll see on Saturday Night Live or touring the country as a headliner.
I agree. How many comedians in this show, Larry? How many comedians? So it's 5 to 7.
There'll be about 10 comedians in a show, and they're all going to do really short sets. So it's not like when you go to a comedy club and someone does 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour. Each one of these comics is going to pop up for 5 to 7 minutes and do whatever they have that's the best to date.
Okay.
So the show pops. And if there's a clunker, hey, that's all part of the fun experience. And if hits it out of their park for the first time, that's exciting. And if you go to the show, which is at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, it's the early show. Over by 7, you could be back home and asleep by 7:30.
I love it, Larry. And, that is good. Listen, I have a love affair with comedy. When I was right out of high school, I grew up in Boston. That's what we did on the weekends. We went to comedy shows, and we literally would go from one club to another club because it was college town. You know, it's so many clubs down there. And then when I moved to New York in 1990, my first job I ever had was working at the Comedy Cellar downstairs as a bartender. That's amazing. I what you just said is exactly true. And a lot of them would come from the comic strip, come to the Comedy Cellar, and then they would go. They would start to go uptown. And I think Catch a Rising Star was still open back then in early 90s.
And the Improv, they went into the early 90s until.
And you know who on these type of nights, you know who I met? Jay Moore, Ray Romano, Jon Stewart, Dan Rosen. So many of the guys that you would see that now are either writers or have their own shows. Amazing. So you're right. To catch someone at their very beginning, you know, is so special. And I love it. I don't care. People don't have to be polished. I like to see what people do in their moment, you know?
And it's like you're supporting new talent. Because, there's so many people out there think they're funny, right? And everybody says you got to do it. But there's such a difference of being funny when you're hanging out with your friends than getting on stage with that spotlight hits you and there's not a sound in the crowd and you're at a microphone and you open your mouth, right? And, it is the most human and natural thing to, but it is virtually terrifying.
Now,
Right?
Larry, do they also have comedy classes there?
They actually do.
Okay.
And D.F. Sweedler, the same guy that hosts this every other Saturday show, teaches the comedy classes. And actually, that's how I got into comedy.
Oh my God, I love that, because a lot of people will ask, like, hey, you know what? Like you just said, people say I'm funny or I'm an actor, but the stand-up comedy is like that. That's the scariest of all, I think, because
you have nothing else to fall back on. There's not music. There's not a band. There's not a script. There's not scenery. There's a phone and a brick wall. Right?
Yeah. So people ask all the time if there's a good place to take classes. So this is good. D.F. Sweedler teaches.
And he is the Zen master of comedy. He literally has been doing this for 40 or 50 years. And because of his choice, has chosen to stay at the comic strip. He doesn't tour. He didn't make movies. He's been doing it. And he was friends with all those guys, the Chandlers and the Chris Rocks and the Eddie Murphys and the Paul Reisers were all part of that same world. And sometimes when you see those guys on shows, they'll drop the D.F. Sweedler name and you'll say, yeah, we all started together. And
now I'm going to pay attention. And they must go back and see him from time to time, right?
And the greatest joy of going to, especially a new comic showcase at a club, is when the unexpected happens and a Jerry Seinfeld or a Chris Rock will show up coming to their, it's like going back to your old high school and getting a few minutes on stage, and you never know when that can happen. And frankly, it actually happens quite a lot.
I know. And I think even Robin Williams, if I'm not mistaken, when he was in town, would swing by, just drop in, do new material, and then just like zip out.
And then, or maybe head to a different club to try some other material later that night.
Right.
And a lot of these guys who are coming up the ladder, they'll do this 5 o'clock shock at the comic strip. They'll be over at Manhattan Comedy for 8 o'clock. They'll be at Greenwich at 10 and hopefully hitting the Comedy Cellar later that evening, because that's working it. That's how you work your chops.
Absolutely.
And then there's no substitution for just getting up in there and doing stage time. Right. And one of the most wonderful things about New York is that the comedy community is so vibrant here. We're so fortunate to have so many good comedy clubs and also an amazing interaction among comics who, when people think about it, they think of it as such a kind of competitive and stab in the back world, but it's not. It's comedians are so supportive of each other because it all floats all boats. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely 100% agree. And I've seen it with my own eyes. Yeah. And just the way people help each other. And even movies, you'll see certain movies and then all of a sudden you see like certain comedians that are in the same movie and you read behind the scenes and they all helped each other. They all talked to the director. I said, this is my buddy. I want to get my buddy on. And it's just great how they help each other. And even to this day, Adam Sandler and Chris Rock are buddies, and they're always in stuff together.
Sandler's the genius and known throughout all of the comedy world as the nicest human being, as well as the hardest working comic. And if you meet him once and he likes you, he puts you in things. He's that magnanimous, that wonderful, and that real of a guy, and he treats his friends amazingly. Like when he won the Mark Twain Award last year, it was amazing.
And what is that for, the Mark Twain Award?
Mark Twain Award is the annual award that's given at the Kennedy Center. And I don't want to bring up the Kennedy Center because
I know
we have no idea what's happening there in the future. But I hope Adam wasn't the last winner of the award.
Wow!
But at the center, and it's a once a year thing, and they give it to a comedian. And there's Steve Martin and Martin Short and name all, Lily Tomlin, and all great comedians have won this, and they do it a great tribute night. And the one last year for Adam Sandler was wonderful.
I love that. But the Mark Twain.
Jon Stewart's was pretty good as well.
Jon Stewart was quite wonderful.
I love Jon Stewart. And speaking of sweet people, like you said, Adam Sandler helps. I remember Jon Stewart I'm talking about 1990, 1991 when he started. And he was exactly like that, would go and do open mics. And I was the bartender down there. And he was, and probably still is, one of the nicest human beings you could ever want to meet in your life.
And he was a bartender. He was a bartender for years at PJ Moran's downtown if you remember.
See?
And you know, one of the interesting about Jon Stewart is he's actually only
Yeah, he's a short guy.
1.5 feet tall, right?
Yeah, he's
So
very little.
when he has to travel, he goes in luggage because he doesn't need a full seat. He's just because he's that
I
big.
love it. That's easy to carry.
Leo,
Leo,
have you ever seen the movie Leo?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Adam Sandler movie.
it's an animated movie written by Robert Smigel, who's the guy behind Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog, and he's a chameleon, and he's voiced by Adam Sandler. It's the most wonderful, heartfelt.
It's really cute.
I've never
I watched
seen
it. I watch it with my kids. We do a Friday afternoon movie, and so every time they said the name, they all looked at me.
There you go. It's a
Every
wonderful
time.
The movie Leo, I'm going to have to look this up. And Adam Sandler does the voice?
voice.
Netflix, I believe.
Again, he did it because he's really good friends with Robert Smigel, who's the comedy writer for years and years. And once again, he's the genius behind Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog, which
He's so funny.
really kills me.
Yes.
Special to your audience, Miss Maria. Anybody who emails me at laffny, laffny @gmail.com. Anyone who emails me will get a pair of tickets free to come.
What?
Yes, free to come see the new talent show at the Comic Strip Live this Saturday, October 4th at 5 p.m. So any of your listeners, if they just take that number down and say free tick and they send it to me, they will have a pair of tickets. And if they really beg, I'll give them 2 pairs of tickets.
Oh, my God.
Your special audience, Maria.
That's really great. Thank you, Larry. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, and it is such a fun show. And once again, you never know who you're going to see. And in 2 or 3 years, who knows? That guy, Matt Rife, he started in doing little clubs. He started doing TikTok and Instagram. And now he's selling out arenas within like a 3 or 4 year plan. So
I know. I'm telling you, I took a commercial class with Nick. Is it Nick Groff? I'll think of it in a minute. But now I just took a commercial class with this guy. This is years ago, and he was just a funny guy and very kind of laid back. And the next thing you know, he's everywhere. And then he wrote shows, and he was on Broadway, and just funny as funny can be.
I know we got
so many.
Yeah. With Broadway, Jeff Ross, the Roastmaster General, just finished a 4-week run of an amazing Broadway show called "Take a Banana for the Ride," and it was a smashing show, and it's just amazing when comedy. If you think about comedy, it was on the stage, it was on records, and then comedy went away for a while. Then it came back in the club strong, and then everybody wanted to get a sitcom, and then sitcoms went away. And then people got online, and everybody was on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And now the clubs are back, and now Broadway.
Love it.
They're even hitting Broadway now. Kevin Hart is selling out auditoriums. Sebastian Maniscalco is selling out 4 nights at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, I love him. I've been following him since the beginning. Right. Love him. And, in high school, my best friend in high school was Mario Cantone. We went to high school together. So, but I got to tell you, and that's one of the reasons that I loved comedy so much is because we used to all go see Mario. He was at Emerson College, and they would do all these workshops, and all our high school buddies would go to support Mario. And then after his shows, we'd hit the comedy circuit, and that was in the late 80s. So, all through the 80s, we did this, and then I eventually moved to New York, and so comedy was so big then. And I'd love to see it really come back. And I feel like you're right. It is coming back. It's nice to hear that. It is coming back.
Especially, listen, the whole world hunkered under during COVID time. And it was, everything closed. And then once COVID lifted, the urge to get back out there and see live music, see live theater, see live comedy. Well, comedy was late. They actually opened up the crack dens and the houses of ill repute because they felt that those people attracted a higher caliber in the comedy club. So the comedy clubs waited a while. But it was, once again, for that visceral, ephemeral feeling of live interaction. And, this whole thing going on now with this woman, what's her name? Till Nitwood or Norwood. And she's like this AI actress that's like everybody's railing about it, right? It's gonna replace all talent in movies because it's all gonna be AI. You're never gonna replace a live band on a stage or a live musician or a comic on a stage, no matter what AI does.
And
right?
why would you want to?
Why would you want to?
I mean, that to me is ridiculous. Like I think, okay, great AI. Maybe you want to create some graphics, whatever. I get it. You want to help with something, but why would you want to replace a human being with a non-human
being
for that kind of human connection?
And as I said, there's a lot in this world to be concerned about on every level. And
absolutely.
I'm not political at all because to me, I'd rather spend my time, laughing about humanity and the things we all do and actually bringing people together. Like it is much more funny than taking easy pot shots at libs or dems or rights or reps, right? Because at the bottom, these are all just beliefs. Underneath the surface, we're humans, and what we want to do is be uplifted by music. We want to laugh at comedy, and we want to find love, right?
Well, I agree with you, Larry. And that's one of the reasons that I love doing what I do for a living and being in all these different clubs that I'm in because I get to interact with other human beings, and it's different every night. And I meet people from all over the world. And now more than ever, people need human connection. They need to feel that we're not losing ourselves, even though the world is so crazy. That's undeniable. You can't say it's not. But what we do have is each other, and we can enjoy the interaction. I love it. I think it's great.
That is so all about, and it's all about laughing. It's all about laughing about the things we do at home. Like I was singing the Broadway stuff, right? So this morning, I just installed one of these jets on my toilet bowl. One of these things where the Toto thing, and I was on the toilet bowl a little bit too long, enjoying it too much. And I was thinking and sitting there, and I started thinking of Broadway songs. So I'm sitting there, and I came up with this song. But day by day, day by day, I'm so straight, but my ass is gay.
Larry, welcome to the gay ass. That's hysterical.
You say that because, like, I happen to be incredibly heterosexual. I fought against it for years, but I have given up to dismay of my parents. I think they were hoping for a gay son, but I turned out incredibly heterosexual, was totally disapparent. But what I've decided is, straight, gay, I'm stray.
You're straight. I love that.
Which means I'm very straight, but I actually much more, instead of going out to like watch a ball game and drink beers with the bros, I'd rather hang out with Bobby and Maria and Lauren at Brandy's and
love it.
Down.
And we love it, Larry. So let's tell everybody again, this is Larry Fish, my friend and everybody's pal. He's the best. He's going to be at the Comedy Strip Live this Saturday, which is October 4th. Show starts at 5 and goes till 7. It's a 2-hour show. And Larry is offering, so the Comic Strip is on 2nd Avenue between 81st and 82nd. Larry is offering anyone that emails him free tickets. So a pair of free tickets at LAFFNY. So laughny@gmail.com. Email Larry, tell him that you saw him on the show or not. Just tell him that you love him and you'd love to have some tickets, and Larry will get you on that list, right?
And just tell him Maria sent you. And you know what I call you, Maria, of course. I know your name is Maria Gentile, right?
It's Gentile, yeah.
But I call you Maria Goy because that's.
Listen, I'll take it. I am a Goy girl, so I'll take it. Larry, what and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And what year is it now? What year are we in?
It's the year of the poached rabbit, which is that's where we got to keep ourselves as a poached.
I love it. Dan Rosen used to do a joke about with the Chinese calendar and the Jewish calendar and how they were 2,000 years apart. And he said, I can't believe Jews went without Chinese food for that many years.
You can't really have the Jewish New Year without some good dim sum.
I know. I always love that joke. So,
you like my hat, Maria?
What does it stand for?
Well, it can stand for anything you want. It could stand for kicks and grins, kindness and grandeur, or keep America great. Right. So I can stand for a whole lot of things.
Yeah, well, you decide, folks. You decide what you think it is. And Larry, thank you so much for joining us. You're a sweetheart. I'll definitely see you Saturday night.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, and Leo, great meeting you.
Leo's the best.
He's the best.
So Leo's behind the scenes. He's the genius. Mandar. Now, Mandar, you should email Larry and get some tickets. Mandar's in Jersey, but he loves to go to clubs.
Great. And Maria, if there's anybody who is interested in taking the DF Sweedler classes, also email me at laffny@gmail, and I'll put the love chat together.
Oh, I love that. That would be great. People ask me all the time, Larry, all the time, like, where's a good place to take a comedy class? And I don't know, so I usually
a story, because I have to tell you this. This is like, I've always wanted to do comedy, but like I didn't know how do you do it, right? There's no pathway to it. And I met DF. I took 5 or 6 classes, and the graduation is you get up on stage, right? It's like the graduations, you get up on stage and you perform in a comedy club. So it is so easy to achieve a bucket list dream.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can decide that was one and done. That was wonderful. I'm on. Or you can do like me and like all of a sudden I'm addicted and I need to come up next week and next week and next week, right? But if you want to have that experience, you can do it. You can get up on stage at a comedy club.
Now, Larry, you've also performed on the West Coast. You've performed in Florida, and you perform in New York. So you do it in a lot of different places.
Traveling around. It's once again, it's one of those beautiful things. It's one of the things that, regardless, people want to laugh, and if there's an opportunity, and I'm sure the musicians feel the same way. But to be on stage and to hit a joke that you wrote and you worked on, and to have it hit an audience and to hear that laughter and hear it back onto you, it is literally the best feeling in life.
Larry, when you were a kid, who was your favorite funny guy?
Literally no question, that was Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
I friggin' adore that guy. And once again, they say never meet your idols, and that's another story. But as a kid, that human being was comedy just exploded. And, kind of in the school of Jim Carrey and Robin Williams as well. But Jerry Lewis, to me, was human comedy, just in anything he did.
I love that. Okay, that's good to know. For me, it was Carol Burnett.
Yeah,
I didn't think anybody was funnier. I love that. Larry, you're so sweet, and thank you for taking the time. I know your schedule is so crammed. Thank you for saying yes. Everybody, now Mandar says he's going to try to get there. So please, again, you email Larry at laffny@gmail and let him know that you would like a pair of tickets to see the comic strip live this Saturday, October 4th at 5 p.m., 2nd Avenue between 81st and 82nd. And tell Larry Maria sent you.
Great. And all the people, when they're done with the show, head over to Brandy's and we'll have some good music.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I'll be at Brandy's on this Friday and Saturday.
Thank you
I love you, honey. Thank you so much. Larry Fish, everybody. Woo! So, I love that, Leo.
Thank you.
He gave Larry some applause. Leo, perfect. Okay, before we bring on Judy, that was our friend Larry. He's a sweetheart. Sweet, sweet, sweet man. And funny guy. And he and his friends will be there on Saturday. So go check it out. And if you email him, you got free tickets. I mean, come on, you can't beat that. Lori, I just want to check who else has joined us. Barbara Prutitis is here. Mandar joined us. Jets on the toilet bowl. I know, just like the football game season for this year. Well, listen, those poor Jets. When I was a kid, by the way, Mandar, even though I grew up in New England, I was a Jets fan as a kid because I loved Joe Namath. And then as years went on, I ended up I went back to the Patriots. But I loved Joe Namath when I was a kid. I always tell that to my Jet fan friends. Okay. Got a deal. Yeah. So you see, Mandar is definitely a comedy fan. I know you are. So go and check it out. You can't go wrong. Okay. So as Larry said, I'm really not political. he's leaning towards let's go for the comic side of things, and that is a beautiful way to be. On the other, swinging to the other side, there are people that are political experts and politically savvy and do all the research for us, and that's why we had to have her on. We booked her a long time ago. She happens to be our friend, my honey, and the amazing author and podcast star of The Liberal Conservative, TLC. Now, one whole season has gone by, and season 2 just dropped. But I've got to say something. And this is what I tell people. Don't just listen to this podcast because you are political or not political. Listen to this podcast because you love history. What each episode is a history lesson. Judy does all the research, so you don't have to. Not that you shouldn't anyway. I mean, it's good to dive into history, but Judy takes this to another level intellectually, and you can find it on all platforms where podcasts are heard. Without further ado, she is on business. She's traveling right now. She's joined us. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Judy Mesa.
Hi there.
Hi, Judy Mesa.
You hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us? You got an applause. Leo gave you an applause.
Wow.
I know. So now, I'm not just saying this because I think you're the greatest, but I love your podcast. But to quote my cousin Rena, sometimes it's scary because it's so true. And there's so many facts, right? But I have learned more about American and world history from listening to your podcast than I could ever imagine. And thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome.
So fill us in on how was it the first, because this is your first podcast ever that you've done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even though you're a history nerd, but this is your first podcast. What made you want to do it? And how was your first season? What was the experience you had with the first season?
So I mean, the first season, I feel like I was really charged up. And interestingly enough, it wasn't as as I mean, it was political, definitely, but I feel like it was just more like it was more of like history than it was politics, which
Absolutely.
of course, I kind of, correlated it to current, to current events. I had a lot of bonus episodes if there was something crazy going on. So yeah, I feel like I myself learned a lot by doing research. Although a lot of the things that I talk about, that I double check my research because I don't want to just give opinions. Everybody has one. You know what they say about that. So I do want to give a lot of factual information. And then I had to take a little break because, it's so much information. And also I've always been someone that has, for some reason, I've always felt like I've been very driven by justice, anything having to do with justice since I was very, very little, like almost abnormally, right? Since I was like 5 years old, like my family would probably look at me and be like, what's wrong with this girl? Like, why isn't she playing?
What do you think that comes from being that little and being?
I don't know. I think it's just intuitive. I think it's just part of me. My dogs are barking. I hear.
Yeah, you hear them. Well, they probably hear you.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I had to take a break and step away from the anxiety of all things politics for a while. So I ended season 1. And then I started season 2. A lot of things are going to be different this season. Like I'm going to have a lot more visuals. And then I'm going to, cross promote through all of my other platforms. A lot of people ask me why I named it The Liberal Conservative. I think that for a while I was at the very beginning before I started, recording it. I'm a liberal, obviously, and so are all of my friends. So, but some of the people I don't speak with often, like, rolled their eyes. Oh yeah, well, why is it called the liberal conservative? They thought that for some reason I had changed and I was a conservative, and that's why I named it the liberal conservative. But I didn't. The actual reason I was doing that is because it's the liberal conservative is kind of like an oxymoron. Like, it's just boxes that the government, or our government particularly, wants us to be in, right? Because
Right.
if we have to identify, it's identity politics, and if we have to identify with one and not the other, then it leaves them up here pulling the strings while we're fighting each other and they're doing everything up here, right? So that's why I named it that, because it's not really a thing. We're all human and we all just want the same things, right? And so, I mean, the podcast is really about pulling back the curtain on that, on power, on politics, culture, how money collides with all of
Mm.
these things, and giving people really as much truth as possible without spin. Because I feel like everybody lives in their own bubbles, and if politics doesn't, if you're not a marginalized group, right? Or not just that, because I have a lot of unmarginalized groups that are very political, unmarginalized friends that are very political. But for the most part, I'm generalizing. If you're not a marginalized group, you tend to not understand how a marginalized group feels, right? Or why they're so attached to policies that may, entrench on their freedoms, because you're not afraid that it's going to happen to you. And I feel like that's such a important part of humanity that's lacking, right? Like, what's happening in Gaza, for example. Yes, it's happening so far away, or what's happening in Sudan, or what's happening in Ukraine. But the fact of the matter is that the same people are in charge everywhere.
Mm.
If they're allowing it to happen somewhere, it can happen anywhere. So that, like, lack of understanding is really what drives me to continue to, like, talk to people and do my podcast. I think that we all grew up in a time where they say don't talk about religion and don't talk about politics, but that's also part of the system, right? Of course you have to talk about politics, and of course you have to talk about religion, right? You need to ask questions, and we need to ask questions of each other, right? Instead of just saying, no, we don't talk about that. Well, why not? Don't you talk about every problem in your family? Like, when you have a situation in your family that needs addressing, don't you talk about it?
Well, I'm going to jump in here. I know a lot of people that don't want to do that. I know, like, as an Italian, we grew up like, don't do that. Everybody's going to fight. So that's why I wanted to jump in. However, this is what I love about your podcast. You present facts, and those facts it's not just opinion. You present facts, historical facts. So it's not just what's happening right in front of us right now. You give the behind the scenes and the trajectory of, like, how something started 100 years ago and how it's tied into everything now. That's what I loved about it. My favorite episode that you did was the Supreme Court episode.
That's everybody's favorite episode.
Oh my God. I learned so much. I learned so much with all of your podcasts. And I'm not just saying that. I tell you, you always send them to me. You're like, listen, tell me what you think. And I am always blown away. But that episode really, really blew me away. I also learned a lot of things. I love the one about the matriarchy. I
do a lot of that. I do a lot of that.
Yeah, I know, but it's really important. So it's not always just like, and I love that, even when Larry, our first guest, was talking about, they just like to call people this or that or that or that. You just said the same thing in a different way. They love to label us, right? And the thing is, I don't really think that most of us want to be labeled. I think that most of us just want to feel what we feel and exist and learn as we go. Things change all the time.
Well, I think that I think that most people are just programmed to think that they need to pick a side.
Mm,
right?
absolutely.
So like identity politics only helps the politician. It will
That's
never help,
great.
it will never help, us, right?
Right.
So a lot of times, 100% of the time, I'm gonna say, I have conversations with people that I'll give a few examples. Like I'll have conversations with someone who maybe voted for Donald Trump, and they do not want to say it, right? They don't want to
Right.
tell me that they voted for Donald Trump, but they'll list a couple of reasons that will lead me to believe that they voted for Donald Trump. So my initial reaction to that is, why don't you want to tell me?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So because I will tell you with my full chest everything. I will tell you uh I did not 100% agree with the Biden's administration or any of the Democrats who support a G side anywhere, right?
Mm.
Anywhere. I don't agree with that, right? But in order to, make change, um, we have to take baby steps. We're not going to live in a beautiful democracy on one election. It's
Right.
not going to
Right.
happen, right? We've been fighting this since 1776.
Right.
Nothing's changed. Little has changed, right?
Right.
So we're not going to all of a sudden be like, well, guess what? This year it's done. And it's not going to happen like that, right? So
Right.
unfortunately, we do have to continue to play the chess game and work the long game.
Yeah.
It's a long game.
Leo,
So
you've appeared. Did you have a question for Miss Mesa?
Would anybody looking at, would you want to tell her that you voted? Would you want to tell her any bad news? I would be like,
Well, I will tell you.
especially if she
I
has her
know
chancla. If she has her Cuban
the
chancla with
chunk.
you, oh
I
my
know.
god.
Forget about it. Listen, let me tell you though, Judy and I, and I know Judy's had a lot, but even together, we've had a lot of conversations with people over the years, over the last 10 years. And we always just ask them, like, well, what were some of the reasons that, and it's mind blowing what some of the reasons are. Like,
because they don't have any.
they don't have any.
They
Like,
don't have any. And it happens over and over and over again. I'm going to give you one that really blows my mind. And it's important right now because of what's happening with ICE. When people say, I was talking to someone last week that said to me, I didn't vote for this. I'm seeing these videos of these mothers being stripped away from their children, or a husband being stripped away from his wife. I voted to close our borders so that criminals stop crossing the border. I'm going to tell you something that I am shocked that people don't realize. Criminals are not crossing the border. Do you want to know why? Criminals rule in the country that they're living in. That's why the innocent people are crossing the border.
that's an
Why
incredible
would a
point.
criminal cross the border knowing that here they're actually going to get caught? They're going to stay where they're in charge. It's the people that are fleeing the criminals that are
Right.
crossing the border because they're searching for a better life. And now, a lot of times, the people that are telling me this are immigrants themselves.
Right.
So
Well, can you
I'm
tell? I want you to
shocked.
shed light on this because this always blows my mind, and you always kind of help me understand it. How many times have I said to you, I don't get it? Why would a Latino vote against other Latinos? Or why would a gay person vote? Anyone that is in those minority groups. Why would women, we have these conversations all the time. Why would a woman throw another woman under the bus? And you always break it down for me. And what do you say? Why would some?
Well, so, oh my God, there's so many reasons. There's internalized misogyny. There's pick me women, right? I mean, we live in a patriarchy. So like there's so many women that literally see their worth through, the male gaze. Like that's a fact, right? So there's all of that. There's lack of education, right? A lot of the the Latino community that's crossing the border, like from South America, there's a lot of religion. By the way, I'm not even making this up. You can make a correlation. There's something called religiosity, something. It's something like that.
Religiosity, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a very big, high correlation between religious and lack of education, right? Because so when you're living under the constant crime and violent crime, right? And you're being persecuted, right? In a South American country, what do you have to hold on to but your faith, right? That's it. That's all you have, because, oh my God, at any moment, somebody in your family could be killed. Or, I mean, these are the conditions these people live under, right? So now they cross the border, right? And this is what they're bringing with them. They're bringing with their faith, right? Now they're in a better place, and they're like, thank God that I was able to cross the border. I'm here. So now they're starting a new life in the United States, and they're listening to a party tell them about religion, and they're going to automatically relate to that party, right? And they're going to think that the other party, who's like, oh, it's all good, it's all hippie, it's all liberal, they're going to be like, no, because that's what they know, right? And then a lot of those people don't get an education here, right? Like, they're older, they're bringing their newborns, so their kids maybe go to school here, but they don't. So they don't know the history of the United States. They didn't learn that in Guatemala or in Nicaragua, they don't know any of that, right? So this is like, education is a big deal. That's why they're attacking education, right? Because first of all, by 2030, I think, I don't know what the stats are. I think I did in my season 2, there's an episode about this. Women are outperforming men in college and in wealth and in home buying by a lot, right? Latinos are doing the same to our white counterpart. So now they're like, wait, we have to stop everything because we can't have that, right? So the patriarchy is holding on to dear life, like a cat scratching a brick wall, trying to not die. And by the way, you guys spoke about AI briefly before. That's all also them fearing you into thinking that you're going to be irrelevant because AI is going to take everything. So what do they want you to do? They want you to sit down, shut up, and give up, right? And what we have to do is the complete opposite. AI is not going to take you're not going to get rid of humanity by tomorrow. We're not all going to die, right? So like, we're still here, and we're still new things. We're going to invent new things, just like 2.0. Remember 2K, when they thought, oh my God, the world's going to end in the year 2000?
I was working that night at the duplex, and everybody thought the world was going to end.
Right. Did it?
No. And all I remember thinking was, I have to clean up after this. Like, can you guys just please go home? The world didn't end, and I got shit to do.
Right.
Like, I remember thinking that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's just always been very important to be, especially, I mean, the older I get, the more I become very, like this. Like, I'm very focused on just always, speaking, always asking questions, always trying to see what I can do to make some dent in the world. I always think about RBG. I'm not comparing myself to her at all. Please, I wish.
Our hero.
I mean, I love her. I love so many. I mean, so many people out there are really amazing. But I only bring her up because I so admire her poise. Right. Like, I think that is definitely something I do not have. Right. Like, if you piss me off, I'm going to tell you, I might slap you. Right. Like, this is like, I'm Cuban, and I'm either 0 or 100, and there's no in between. Right. I'm very black and white. As a matter of fact, I'm away for work, and I did an insights thing. We all had to do it. And there's different colors, like fiery red. You already know that's what I was, right? Like, by a lot. And then there was blue, which is like the analytical. That was my second strongest. And then there was yellow and green, which is like very like subdued. I had like almost nothing down there. Like, it was red, blue, and 0 on the other two parts. And then we played a game where everyone had to give. So we had to grab cards from a stack, and people had to give cards to everybody. And there was 30 people in this room. Everybody was coming to me with the red cards. They were like, oh, Judy, this is for you. This is the red. I had a stack like this of red cards. And I was like, That's how I am. But I think it's really important it's really important to talk about what's going on. It's not good to ignore it. It's also very important to live your life and to know that the change that you're going to be able to do as a just normal citizen walking the earth in the United States is going to be small, right? You're not going to make enormous impacts, right? Like, and actually, if you think about it, who has made enormous impacts? They're temporary, right? Like RBG made temporary impacts that are now being rolled back. Martin Luther King made temporary impacts. John F. Kennedy made temporary. FDR, I think, actually is probably the person that has made the most long-lasting impact.
Yeah.
Right? Think about that man's legacy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we were talking about and this is a whole other show, and I have to do the food section. But FDR, people keep saying socialism. Oh, you're socialist, you're communist. FDR's programs, if they were happening today, people would be calling them socialists. That is what socialism is, helping the greater good, right? Like Social Security, unemployment benefits, insurance, making sure people have long-term things to help them. That's go and check and look up FDR again if you don't know what that man did. You're absolutely right, is more long-lasting than I think any president in the history. He did have 3.5 terms, so he did have.
He did most of it on the last term. It was the New Deal, right? The FDIC. You're welcome that your money is protected up to $250,000 when you put it in the bank.
Oh my God!
You're welcome.
Because before that, they could just take your money. That's what happened in when the markets would crash.
It's not that they could just take your money. It's that the bank could crash and you could lose all your money.
Yeah.
Now that can't happen.
And if you watch It's a Wonderful Life, that's one of the last scenes. Okay, what do we do for food tonight? So I'm not on my diet this week. Sorry. I had to take a week off. So I found this new place. We're going to have to go. It's called Taqueria. It's right next to.
Oh, I've been.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It's so good. So I was dying for Leo. This is for you. I was dying for some Mexican food. So I got a quesadilla, carne asada, quesadilla at Taqueria right next to in Edgewater. Got a little pico de gallo, some little chips. They make them fresh right there. Amazing little kitchen. And they're making them right behind you. Could see right in it. And it's incredible. So if
put
you're
the inside up close to the camera.
If you're in the Edgewater area in New Jersey, go and check out Taqueria. Oh my God.
You already took a bite?
I took many bites.
Okay.
You pulled the Leo. Almost the Leo.
I did. Leo usually will eat his food before he shows it. Okay. And this salad I got at Whole Foods, I made it. I created it, of course. And I went for all wonderful, like shredded stuff. So shredded cabbage. Then I have, there's a pomegranate seeds in here. There's onions. There is cranberry, dried cranberries, beets, kale. Look at that. Beautiful. That's a beautiful salad. I love my salads. Okay. And for dessert, I know I'm supposed to be good, but I just couldn't resist. Little pumpkin mousse from Trader Joe's. So everybody, and I know, honey, I'm bad. And next week is Cynthia's wedding. I have to fit into some clothes. I'm going right back on the diet.
Oh, okay.
I have to, because how am I going to fit in? If I keep going this way, it's going to be awful. I'm going to fall off the cliff of fatness. But okay, so we're at the end of our show. I can't believe it. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Yes.
Once we fall off the cliff, we'll bounce.
Well, of course, thank you. Thank you, Leo, for always putting a silver lining on that.
So the Liberal Conservative launches, Leo?
It's going to launch Friday.
Launches October 3rd, this Friday, and a
You're
new
welcome.
episode drops. Thank you. A new episode drops every Friday, and you can stream it on, Leo.
You can stream it on, let's see, if you go to the links, everything is there. The Liberal podcast, you can click right on it, and you can see where we're at and all the links as well. We've got Apple. We are in Apple, Amazon, which is Audible, Podcaster, Deezer,
Spotify.
and then there's 3 more. Spotify.
My website, theliberalconservative.com. Yeah. all of those.
And Leo puts all that for you, right? He
Yes,
loads all that
Leo
up.
is my producer, correct?
Yes, Leo is incredible. Everybody, Leo is best kept secret in all of the bi-coastal. So okay, please go and check out the
bi-coastal.
liberal bi-coastal, the liberal conservative TLC. Go.com and you can find all of it, or just go to any place that you would listen to your podcast. I mean, do you think they need to start from the first one, or can they start anywhere?
No,
You can
it
drop
does
in
not.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can start anywhere.
I love
Take
that
notes.
Supreme Court one. Wow, that was mind blowing. It was really my favorite episode. I loved it. All right, Judy Mesa, leave us with some hope. I love it when you leave us with some hope.
Senator Mesa.
So that's what you've been calling her that forever, Senator Mesa. Hey, it's very possible.
My proof? Listen to the website.
Okay.
Listen to the podcast.
Yes, it's true.
Leave you with some hope.
Please.
The hope is that we we are a beautiful experiment in this country, and it's going to continue to be ours if we can keep it, and just stay engaged. And that's kind of all I got right now.
Yeah, and register to vote. I'm doing
definitely.
I already
Definitely
went on register to vote. Everybody, do not be complacent this time. I know a lot of people
on
say
50.
no.
Yes on 50.
Yes,
that's for California.
Yes on 50.
For California, right?
California.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and for New Jersey, Mickey Sherrill all the way. Mickey Sherrill all the way in New Jersey.
Yeah, Chitterelli.
I met Jack Chitterelli at a fundraising event. He's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mickey Sherrill, Mikey Sherrill.
That's a podcast. That's a story in the podcast.
And she was in the Navy. She's amazing. I've heard her on many interviews. Incredible. Wouldn't it be nice to have a woman governor just like we have in New York? I love her too. All right, everybody, stay engaged.
And Mandami, hello, Mandami in New York.
Yeah.
How could we not say that? Mandami all the way.
Whether you like him or not, what I can say as an educator is I've never seen my students so engaged in something. They are awake out of the blue. So just be awake, whoever your candidate is, you register, be part of the solution, not the problem. Don't just sit on the sidelines and bitch about everything. Be part of it. And Leo just put 202-224-3121. That is the hotline for the Senate, right? Or the Congress?
For all of them, I think.
For all of them. Yeah, the Washington government. And you can leave a message for your particular, especially if you live in a red state, especially.
Or a blue state.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you're someone in a red state, don't just give up. Call your senators and congressmen and tell them how you feel, and tell them you won't vote for them until they start doing things the right way.
Let them know before the blue states decide not to share.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, and this Saturday, if you want to see Larry and his friends at the comic strip, just email laffny@gmail. That's Larry's show. And you can see a bunch of great comics and forget your troubles. If you want to zero in on the crazy world we live in, but somehow make sense of it, go to TLC, the liberal conservative, the smartest voices in the room. And that
the links are in the descriptions.
Yes. And Yudenia Mesa Dominguez. Thank you, honey. Thank you, Leo. I love you both. I'll see you soon.
I thought I was honey.
Well, you are honey. You are
honey. Actually, Judy is pupa. Pupa means doll in Spanish and in Italian. So, but
and look at her. Look at you. Eat something, woman.
No, she eats. She eats. He's saying
she look good. Oh. I'm saying you're looking good, baby.
I know. Me and Leo, we like to eat a lot. All right, I'm gonna go eat my quesadilla and my pumpkin things. And I love you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us every week, Tuesday nights from 9 to 10, right here on What's
Rena, you're not getting away. You better. I'm still waiting for a date.
I know.
I'm waiting for a date, Rena.
Rena's supposed to come with Tiana and her husband visit us. We love Tiana. We love you.
Tiana.
All right. Good night, everybody. We love and appreciate you.
Oh. Dr. Vincent.